We'll get started. How many teaspoons are equivalent to 44 tablespoons? So we have 44 tablespoons, and 1 table is equal to 3t. What's 44 times 3? That's 132. So C is the correct answer. The function f is defined by f of x equals 1 over 6x. What is the value of f of x when x equals 3? Just plug this inside here. So you'll get 1 over 18. So D is the correct answer. If x is equal to 40, what's the value of x plus 6? Well, 40 plus 6 is 46, so C is the correct answer. What is 23% of 100? What's 23 divided by 100 times 100? That's 23, so A is the correct answer. Which expression is equivalent to 50x squared plus 5x squared? That's 55x squared, so D is correct. The population density of Cedar County is 230 people per square mile. The county has a population of 85,100 people. What is the area in square miles of Cedar County? So what you got to do is say that 85,100 people. We have 230 people per 1 square mile. The units cancel out here. What's 85,100 divided by 230? That's 370. 370 is the answer. What is the solution to the given equation? Well, minus 54 divided by minus 9 is 6, so W is minus 9. For the function f, the graph of y equals f of x in the xy plane has a slope of 3 and passes through the point 0, minus 8. Which equation defines f? Well, if you look at the answer choices, and if I put a 0 here, the y should be minus 8. So B is the correct answer. The triangle shown has a perimeter of 22 units if x equals 9, y is 7 units. What is the value of z in units? So what is 9 plus 7 plus x equals 28? Because if you add up all the lengths, you should have a perimeter. And if you solve for x, it's 6. So A is the correct answer. The function h is defined by h of x is equal to 3x minus 7. What is the value of h of minus 2? Just plug the minus 2 inside here, and you get 3 times minus 2 minus 7. So that is equal to minus 13. So A is the correct answer. And the triangle shown was the value of tan of x. Tan is opposite over adjacent, so 26 over 7. So C is the correct answer. The plot shows the relationship between x and y. A line of best fit is also shown. Which of the following is closest to the slope of the line of best fit shown? So this is a positive linear graph, so A and B are automatically wrong. Now, if I approximate, let's say we can tell that the dx is greater than the dy, or like we can assume 2 points, 0, 0 here, and then 2, 1. So 1 minus 0 over 2 minus 0 is 1 over 2, which is 0.5. And the closest answer choice is C. So C is the correct answer. The y-intercept of a graph of 12x plus 2y is equal to 18, and the xy plane is 0, y. What's the value of y? So if I put 0 here instead of x, this goes away. So 2y is equal to 18. Y is going to be 9. So 9 is the correct answer. A model predicts that the certain animal weighed 241 pounds when it was born and that the animal gained 3 pounds per day in its first year of life. This model is defined by an equation in the form f of x is equal to a plus bx, where f of x is the predicted weight in pounds of the animal x days after it was born, and a and b are constants. What is the value of a? So initially it was 241 pounds, and it gains weight 3 pounds per day. So A is equal to 241 here. So 241 is the correct answer. The graph shows the height above ground in meters of a ball x seconds after the ball was launched upward from a platform. Which statement is the best interpretation of the mark 0.1, 0, 4.8 in this context? So 1 second after the ball is launched, the height is 4.8 meters. So A is the correct answer. Based on a random sample from a population, a researcher estimated that the mean value of a certain variable the population is 20.5 with an associated margin of error of 1. Which of the following is the most appropriate conclusion? So we're dealing with margin of errors. So it has to be 20.5 minus the error, and it has to be 20.5 plus 1 over here. So the mean has to be somewhere between 19.5 and 21.5. So A is the correct answer. The given equation relates to positive numbers m and p, which equation correctly gives n in terms of m and p. So we need to set n equals to something. So I'm going to go ahead and work this out. 5n plus 5p. 7m minus 5p is equal to 5n. N is obviously going to be 7m minus 5p. All of that divided by 5. So B is the correct answer. A rectangle has a length that is 15 times its width. The function y is equal to 15w times w represents the situation where y is the area in square feet of the rectangle and y is greater than 0. Which of the following is the best interpretation of 15w in this context? So it literally said length that is 15 times its width. So this is length. So for 18, the 15w means the length. So A is the correct answer. The solution to the given systemic equation is xy. What's the value of x? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the y. So I'm going to add all of them. So 2x is equal to 10. X is equal to 5. So B is the correct answer. The table shows the frequency of values in the data set was a minimum value of the data set. So I can see that 19 is the minimum here. Number x is at most 17 less than 5 times the value of y. If the value of y is 3, what is the greatest possible value of x? So I'm going to go ahead and write this relation. So a number is at most 17 less than 5 times the value of y. So if I put the 3 here, it becomes 5 times 3, which is 15. 15 minus 17 is minus 2. So we're looking for minus 2 because that's the greatest possible value of x. Okay. What is a positive solution to this given equation? So I'm going to go ahead and factor this out. And this becomes 3 minus 8. And if I write it as something like this, I can know that 8 is a positive solution. Okay, in the figure shown, lines R and S are parallel, and the line M intersects both lines. If y is less than 65, which of the following must be true? X plus y has to be 180. So C and D are immediately eliminated. Now, if y is less than 64, so I'll say 65, excuse me, and let's say I put a value of 64 here. 64 plus x is equal to 180. And x is equal to 116. Because y value at the most can be 64, 116 is greater than 115, right? So since that's the case, the correct answer here would be B. The function give in the given function fa is a constant, the graph of function f in the xy plane, where y is f of x, is translated 3 units down and 4 units to the right to produce the graph of y equals g of x, which equation defines function g. So when I'm moving to the right, you should be, it should be like in the form f of x minus h. So it's translated 4 units to the right, so we need to have something like this. And since it's the g of x is translated 3 units down, I'm sorry, the f of x is translated 3 units down, in order to create the function g of x, all we got to do is subtract 3 from this function. So it becomes f of x is equal to a minus 19 over x minus 4 plus 3. Sorry, 2, because 5 minus 3 is 2. So we can tell that B is the correct answer. The machine launches a softball from ground level. The softball reaches a maximum height of 51.84 meters above the ground at 1.8 seconds and hits the ground at 3.6 seconds. Which equation represents the height above ground h in meters of the softball t seconds after it is launched? So if I plug in 3.6 as a t, then my h has to equal to 0. Okay. So and also another thing is the softball reaches a maximum height of 51.84 meters above the ground at 1.8 seconds. So if I put a 1.8, the h value has to be 51.84. So if looking at answer choice D, if I plug in 1.8, the function shows the maximum height of 51.84. And if I plug in 3.6 for t here, the h becomes 0. So the correct answer for question 25 is D as in David. Triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 90 degrees and BD is an altitude of the triangle. The length of AB is 15 and the length of AC is 23 greater than the length of AB. What is the value of BC over BD? So I'm going to go ahead and draw the triangle out here. So we know that B is our right angle, A is over here, and we have C here, and BD is the height. AB is 15, and AC is 23 greater than the length of AB, so this is 38. Now I can solve this x as x squared plus 15 squared is equal to 38 squared according to Pythagorean theorem. X squared is equal to 38 squared minus 15 squared. X is equal to square root of 1219. So this BC is square root of 1219. And I can go ahead and draw out the two triangles. So if I have this one over here, which is B, C, and A, and this is 38, 15, and square root of 1219. And this is A, this is B, this is D over here. Right angle. A is 15, and we're looking for, we need to find BD. So this becomes a simple ratio problem. X over 15 is 12, 19 over 38. So my length of BD is equal to 15 over 38 times square root of 1219. We know that BC is equal to square root of 1219, and if I divide all of this, then I get BC over BD is equal to square root of 1219 times 38 over 15 square root of 1219. So the square root of 1219 goes away, and we get 38 over 15. So D is the correct answer. The function f is defined by the given equation. For what value of x does f of x reach its minimum? So I need to work this out. So this becomes x squared plus 14x plus 49 plus 4, which is equal to x squared plus 14x plus 53. And I'm going to go ahead and use this formula. When x is equal to minus b over 2a, this is when the function reaches its minimum. So we know that our b is 14, so 14 divided by 2 is equal to minus 7. Minus 7 is the correct answer. Okay, moving on to module 2. The box plot summarizes 15 data values. What is a median of this data set? If you look at here, this is a median. So C is the correct answer. What is the x-intercept of the graph shown? So when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 4. So 4 comma 0. D is the correct answer. Henry receives a $60 gift card to pay for movies online. He uses his gift card to buy 3 movies for $7.5 each. If he spends the rest of his gift card balance on renting movies for $1.5 each, how many movies can Henry rent? So we have 60 here. He uses his gift card to buy 3 movies for $7.5 each. So for 3 movies, he's used $7.5. Now, we don't know how many he can rent. Now, if I solve for this, R becomes 25. So for 3, B is the correct answer. The graphs of the given equation intersect at a point x1 and the xy plane. What is the value of y? Just put the 49 here. Square root of 49 is 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. So A is the correct answer. Cherry pitting machine pits 12 pounds of cherries in 3 minutes. At this rate, how many minutes does it take the machine to pit 96 pounds of cherries? So we have 96 pounds. We have 12 pounds in 3 minutes. So what's 96 times 3 divided by 12? That is 24. So C is the correct answer. Okay, 2x is equal to 12. What's the value of 9x? How do I go from 2x to 9x? I need to multiply by 4.5. I have to do the same here. 12 times 4.5. That's equal to 54. So 54 is the correct answer. Line K is defined by y is equal to 1 over 4x plus 1. Line J is parallel to line K. So if the two lines are parallel, then the slope must be the same. So we have a slope of 1 over 4. Which of the following list represented data set that has the same median as the data set shown? So let me get the median real quick. Cross out 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Cross out 1. So 8 is the median. So let's see. Cross out. Nope. Cross out. Yes, we have an 8 as a median. So B is the correct answer. The length of the base of a certain parallelogram is 89% of the height of the parallelogram. So length is 89% of the height. Because this is percent, don't forget to divide by 100. So D is the correct answer. Camping trip, a group bought X 1 liter bottles of the water and Y 3 liter bottles of the water for a total of 240 liters of water. Which equation represents the situation? So it's X plus 3Y, which is 240. So A is the correct answer. Which table gives 3 values of X that are corresponding values of Y for the given equation? So when if I plug in 0, Y should be 40. So A and D are immediately eliminated. For 1, Y should be 36. So C, and so on. So C is the correct answer. The shaded region shown represents solution to inequality. Which ordered pair XY is a solution to the inequality? So we're looking for somewhere in the shaded region, right? 0, comma, minus 4 is not inside the shaded region. 0, comma 4, obviously not. No way. So 4, comma 0, which is over here. Yes, this is in the shaded region, so D is the correct answer. In the triangle JKL, the measures of K and L are 48 degrees each. What is the measure of J in degrees? So we know the two angles, but we don't know the third angle. But we know that these have to add up to 180. So what's X? X is equal to 84. The solution to the given system equation x, y, what's the value of y? So I know my x is 3 because 3 plus 8 is 11. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this inside here. So y is 3 squared plus 14 times 3 plus 48. What does this equal to? This equals 299. The cleaning service that cleans both offices and homes can clean at most 14 places per day. So at most, we have a hint here. So B and D are eliminated. Which inequality represents the situation where F is the number of offices and H is the number of homes? Well, obviously we need to add. So A is the correct answer. Which expression is a factor of 2x squared plus 38x plus 10? Since they're all even numbers, I can immediately pull the 2 out to the front. So obviously 2 is the answer. So A is correct. The equation 40x plus 20y is equal to 160 represents the number of sweaters, x and number of shirts, y that Yesenia purchased for $160. If Yesenia purchased 2 sweaters, how many shirts did she purchase? So number of sweaters is x. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say 40 times 2 plus 20y, which is equal to 160. 20y is equal to 80. Y is equal to 4. So B is the correct answer. The equation gives the estimated stock price Y in dollars for a certain company X days after a new product launch, where X is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 20. Which statement is the best interpretation of X comma Y is 1 comma 83 in this context? So after like 1 days after opening, the stock price was 83. So 1 day after the new product launch, the company is estimated, yeah. So C is what we're looking for. For a given linear function f, which table gives three values of x and the corresponding values of f of x? No matter what value of x I put in, the output must equal to 39. So B shows that. Because if I put f of 0, for example, it has to be 39, f of 1 has to be 39, f of 2, or f of something has to be 39. So B is the correct answer. A triangular prism has a height of 8 centimeters and a volume of 216 cubic centimeters. What is the area in square centimeters of the base of the prism? Literally, you can use this formula here. This is equal to 216. We're given the height, which is 8, so 8b is 216. What's 216 divided by 8? That is 27. 27 is the correct answer. The graph shows the momentum y in Newton's seconds of an object, x seconds after the object started moving. For this range, what is the average rate of change in Newton seconds per second and the momentum of the object from x equals 2 to 6? So we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the slope. 8 minus 6. So this is equal to 2 over 4, which I can further simplify to 1 over 2. One of the two equations in a system of linear equation is given. The system has infinitely many solutions. Which of the following could be the second equation in the system? So first of all, what I'm going to do here is, since we have a 12, 20, and 52, uh, I'm going to go ahead and see what I need to do in order to change this minus 15 to like minus 12. And how do I get from this to this? All I gotta do is divide 1.25. And where did I get the 1.25? 15 divided by 12. This is equal to 1.25. Okay. If I do the same thing for 25, 25 divided by 1.25 is 20. 65 divided by 1.25 is also going to be 52. Okay. And all we gotta do is look for this. So I can immediately eliminate A and B. I can see C is the correct answer, so C is correct. Of us travel on a highway and on a local roads to complete a trip of 160 miles. The trip took 4 hours. The bus traveled at an average speed of 55 miles per hour on the highway and an average speed of 25 miles per hour on the local roads. If X is the time in hours the bus traveled on the highway and Y is the time in hours travel on local roads, which system of should represent? Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Since it took 4 hours, we need to have this. So A and C are immediately eliminated. So 55 miles per hour on a highway, 55x plus 25y is equal to 160, because this equation should give us the distance. So B is the correct answer. The quadrilateral P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime is similar to a quadrilateral PQRS, where PQR and S correspond to P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime respectively. The measure of angle P is 30 degrees. The measure of angle Q is 50 degrees, and the measure of angle R is 70 degrees. The length of each side of P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime is 3 times the length of each corresponding side of PQRS. What is the measure of angle P prime? Well, since P prime and P correspond to each other, and we're given the information of angle P, which is 30 degrees, so 30 is the correct answer. The given function f represents the perimeter in centimeters of a rectangle with a length of x centimeters and a fixed width. What is the width and center of the fixed rectangle? Okay, if you want to get the perimeter, it's 2L plus 2W, right? And I can go ahead and pull the 2 in front. Okay. And if I look at here, this is equal to this. So we are given that length, so 2L is equal to 2x, and 2W is equal to 244. L is equal to x, which is given, and W is equal to 122. So B is the correct answer. A function f and g are defined by the given equation where x is greater or equal to 0. Which of the following equations displays as a constant or coefficient the maximum value of the function defines where x is greater or equal to 0? So both are like decreasing exponential functions. And I need to check if I can represent, let's like a constant coefficient or some sort of a constant number when, let's say, I put x is equal to 0. So if I go ahead and for f for the first option, it becomes 33 times 0.4 to the power of 3. This is not given as like a one single like number. So we can't really pick the first one. So 1 is wrong. Now let's look at this mess over here. So if I put x is equal to 0 here, it becomes 33 times 0.16 times 0.4 to the power of minus 2. Now 33 times 0.16 divided by 0.4 squared. These two cancel out because 0.4 squared is 0.16. I can clearly represent the second function, the maximum value of the second function, just using 33, right? So B is correct. Okay, and the given equation, A and B are positive constant. The sum of the solutions to the given equation is K, 4A plus B, where K is constant. What's the value of K? So the sum of solutions is going to be minus B over A, and the product is going to be C over A. We're only looking for this. So what's my B value here? Don't forget the minus here. So it's going to be minus 16A plus 4B divided by 64. So I'm going to put the minus cancels out. And I'm going to go ahead and write as this. We're looking for the K, right? So 4A plus B, I can like put it aside here and say 4 over 64. This is what we're looking for. Don't forget to simplify this. If you simplify this, it becomes 1 over 16. So 1 over 16 is the correct answer. Thanks for watching.